So today I'm going to be doing something a bit different than I usually do, but I thought I'd give it a try, and you already read the thumbnail. So I've decided to have a tutorial about how to install Arch Linux the easy way. Now I'm not talking about Arch install, I'm talking about how to install Arch Linux easily using manual, because let's face it, Arch install is for noobs. So yeah, a virtual machine. First, what you would do, you would open up your browser and go to this place. Go type in Arch Linux and go to the first link, then go to the download tab, and then here you can select any mirror. I'm just going to go with the worldwide one. And now I'll just download the image. It's 1.4 gigabytes because it's a DIY system, so it shouldn't take that long. So I'll catch you up, and I'll make my virtual machine as well. Okay, it has now finished downloading. We have our ISO. Now you're going to go back to the download page because we want the installation guide. So now I'll just quickly set up my virtual machine. And alright, so this is what you would see if I was doing from a USB. So I'll just press enter. Welcome to Arch Linux. Now while I wait for this to do, you'll see a bunch of that. We'll get to the installation image. So most likely you will be on Windows, and you're going to have to identify if your partition scheme is either GPT or MBR. So what you have to do, if you're on Windows, you have to press the Windows button and the R button at the same time, then a little box will open up. Now I believe you have to type in MS info 32 and then a little window pop up. Then find the BIOS section. If it's UEFI, you are most likely using GPT. If it is legacy or BIOS, you are most likely using MBR, and that is very important. So when you have your installation on Windows, you would have to go to this place called Rufus. And then you would get the exe and run it, and then in the partition scheme choose GPT, and then you can flash it to your USB. And make sure when you're booting off the USB, disable secure boot. So for me, I have to use the F2 key to enter my BIOS, and then disable secure boot and enable USB boot. Then go to your boot menu. Most of your BIOSes should have a little shortcut, but for me, I have to restart and press the F12 key to boot from it, and then we'll be met with this. If you've done that, congratulations, you have now booted from the live environment, and we can now follow the installation guide. So I'll just put up screen. Oh no, just do this so I can easily do it. So this is the installation, the verify signature. I usually skip this one, but you can follow along. This is the instructions. This is where you would do the USB thing, and now so the console keyboard layout and font. So what you have to do, you have to type in local ectl list dash key maps, and then you'll be met with this. Use J and K to scroll, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And once you find your key map, just do that, type clear, and then load your key. So I'm doing US, so I'll do load keys US, and then it shouldn't do anything because like that's good, yeah. Now we're going to set the font. Now the font we're going to set is this one, the set font thing. So set font to -132B. And now you see that looks a lot better and it's much easier to read now. And now we 1.6, verify the boot mode. This will be very helpful when doing GPT or MBR. So you do cat /sys /firmware/EFI /FW_platform_size. And if that returns to 64, just boot it into UEFI mode. But if it's GPT. But if it says no such file or directory, it's most likely an MBR. And a GPT and MBR will come important later. And now we have to connect to the internet. So since I'm using a VM, I've already connected to the internet. But since you're going to be booting off a live environment, you are going to have to make sure you're connected. First, run the ping command. So do ping -c 5, and then to any website, just do google.com. And then if you're connected, you'll see this. But most likely you're not. So you would have to type in IWCTL. And then, yeah. So we'll just bring up the IWCTL utility. And then you would have to type in device list. And then here there should be a WLAN 0. If it's powered off, you have to make sure that it's not soft blocked. So I'm going to exit and do rfkill unblock Wi-Fi. You have to do to make sure it's not to soft block. So then IWCTL device list and then WLAN 0 should be powered on, but there is another command. If it's still powered off, it'll be on screen. And once you did that, yeah, the device name, so WLAN 0 set property powered on, yeah. And then it says list all available networks, so you station WLAN 0. Well, and if it's not WLAN 0, replace it with the station name. Station name get networks. Sorry, I'll make sure to cut that out. And then finally connect to the network. So station WLAN 0, network name, connect, and says SSID. But I don't know. And then it'll ask you for the password. Enter the password, then wait 5 seconds, then press enter. If nothing happens, you're connected. So type in exit and then run the ping command. So ping -c 5 google.com. And then you should be doing that. Although it's going to be a little bit harder for me to do the tutorial since I'm in a VM. Don't really have that much stuff. But yeah. Now the internet setup. And we can move on. Just type clear. And now we can do time detect L, not a 1, L. And if it says system clock synchronized, that's a bingo. And now we can officially partition the disks. So what you do, you type in lsblk or fdisk-l, but I'm going to do lsblk. And now SDA has 50 gigabytes, which is how much I assigned to the virtual machine. So that's good. And then so my disk is SDA. Yours could be like something SDB or NVMe 0 and 1, which was in my case when I was installing Arch Linux for the first time. So just make sure that's the right name, and then you will have to partition the disks. If you want more information, you can do fdisk-l, and like this model VBox hard disk. So now I actually really know it. Now we're going to do fdisk, and then dev. Now here you would do like NVMe 0 and 1, like just type in the disk to be partitioned. And for me, it's SDA. Alright. So now we'll bring up the fdisk thing. Now we're going to create a new table. So to create a new partition table and clear all data type G for your GPT partition table. So if your partition scheme is GPT, type G. But if it's an MBR partition scheme, you type O. But I'm using GPT, so I took G. And then create a new partition with the N command. So do N. And then partition number, the default will be 1. So just do that. And yeah, partition type. When using MBR, fdisk will ask for MBR partition type. Yeah, just do what this thing says. So then we do that. And now we do plus. We're going to make the EFI system first, so it's going to be plus 1G. And now we're going to type T. Here, selected partition 1, partition type of alias. So we're going to do EFI system. Now we have our 1 gigabyte EFI system. So it's going to be like the bootloader and all that stuff. And now, that's a change partition type. Make an MBR partition bootable by typing A. Yeah, it's kind of confusing the first time, but you get used to it when you do it multiple times. Now, we have our EFI system. We're going to do new, default 2, first sector, yes. Now, plus 8G. Now, when we do enter, we're going to do T, and then do 2, and this will be the Linux swap. So basically what a Linux swap is, when you like doing some heavy work and the RAM gets full, apparently it will move the RAM space into the swap space to free up the RAM. So that's pretty cool. So we'll do Linux swap. Now new, enter, and now you don't have to do anything because it's our last partition, so just take up the remaining space. So enter again, linked file system, and it should say the rest of your space. Yeah, 41 gigabytes, which is nice. So we'll do T, 3, and now, well, I actually don't know the name of this. So it is This is a 23 for because we're going to be doing the Linux root x86-64. And then that will be good. I'm pretty sure. Yep. Alright. So, just making sure that it's good. Yep. So now if I do... Oh wait. So now, to make sure, type P. And now, SDA1. So I type 1 gigabyte. Good. Type EFI system. Good. SDA2. These are the partitions, by the way. 8 gigabytes. Linux swap. Good. And now SDA3, which has all of our leftover space, is our Linux root, which is nice. And then we'll do W to write it. And then congratulations, you have now partitioned the disks. Now we can move on with the rest of the installation guide, which is formatting the partitions. So we're going to format our root partition first. So do mkfs.ext4 so it's /dev /the root partition. So for me the root partition is SDA3, but if it's like different, it'll be like NVMe 0 N1 P3, P2 or P1, but mine is SDA3 for my root. So just do that. Alright, now we have our swap. Our swap is SDA2, so we'll do mkswap /dev, and then our swap partition, which is SDA2. And then we'll format EFI system partition, which now is SDA1. So mkfs.fat -f32 /dev, the EFI system partition. So SDA1 for me. Boom. Now we're going to mount the file partitions. So mount dev, now the root partition, which for me is SDA3, and then mount it at /mnt. And for UEFI systems, mount the EFI partition. So mount /make directory /dev, now the EFI system partition. So that will be, I am pretty sure, SDA2. MNT boot. Oh yeah, it's SDA1. Mount. Okay, so I have bad memory. SDA1. Okay, wait, let me troubleshoot this. Okay, I think I just did a typo or something. So once the EFI system is mounted for EFI systems, I'm going to do the swap. So if you create a swap volume, enable it with swap on. So swap on dev, and now the swap partition, which is SDA2. So SDA2. Remember, replace SDA with your disk identifier. And then generate your FZ stable related to text. Now clear. Now you've successfully completed step 1. Now time for the installation. Select the mirrors. So now we are going to get the mirrors, and basically what a mirror is so you can actually like download some stuff. But before we do the mirrors, we're going to synchronize the databases. So pacman sy, and then pacman sy arch linux queuing, and the queuing is like the trust, so it actually downloads. Arch Linux, oh my day. And now we do pacman sy Arch Linux queuing, and then type yes. Just going to do this thing. Alright. Now we're going to actually select the mirrors. Now let me get the script up because it actually doesn't show it here. Alright, we got the command. So, to get the mirrors, to download the mirrors, I think, we're going to do reflector -- country, quotation marks, and then type in your country. So I'm going to do Australia, and then the quotation mark -- latest, then 20. Better if I full screen this, no. And then -- protocol, and HTTPS -- sort, wait, save -- save, and then we're going to put in the directory, which is /etc --pacman d /mirror list. And then just going to get the mirrors. Just give it a moment. So we'll get good downloads. Alright, now we have the mirrors downloaded. So now we're going to do packstrap. So we're going to be getting the bones of our system. We're going to get the bare bones. So it's like we're getting the skeleton, like the foundation of our new Arch Linux operating system. So we're going to do packstrap, not pacman, packstrap --K /mnt base Linux firmware. And now, or to make it easier, I'm going to throw in nano, and if you're not a nano user, I'm also going to throw in vim. And so this doesn't become a hassle in the future, we're going to do network manager, type in enter. Now it's going to download, and since we got the mirrors, it shouldn't take that long, but depending on your system specs, internet speed and stuff, it might take a couple minutes, like it is for me now. Alright, packstrap has now finished, and if you see this error file not found etc vcontrol.config, that is totally normal, and it will come into use later. But now we finished our packstrap, and it's time for step 3, configure the system. And here we are going to generate our fstab, and our fstab is I actually don't know, but it comes into use when booting, I think. So we're going to do gen fstab --U /mnt, yeah, whatever this is /mnt /etc /fstab. Alright, Now I'm going to do nano MNT fstab. And now we're going to make sure that our fstab is correct. So if you see any duplicates here, maybe try deleting them. But here our fstab has my fstab has been correctly generated, so I don't have to do anything. So just clear. And time for 3.2 chroot. Now we're going to be going into our system. So we're going to do arch-chroot /mnt. And now we are inside our new system. And time for the time. So ln-sf/usr/share/zone info/area/location, then space/etc local time. Okay. Then HW, when we're going to run our HW clock. So HW clock -- sys TOHC. Boom. Now localization. This is the VIA console thing. See, look. Yeah, this thing. So we're going to do locale gen to generate the locales. Now, I presume, like, we're going to be editing files, but yeah, so please correct me if I'm wrong. This is like one of my first tutorials, and like with a tutorial on a pretty hard thing. So I'm going to do nano etc locale conf, but I mean, if it works, it works. I'm going to do lang equals n underscore us dot utf dash 8. Control O, enter, C, Control C, and then nano etc vconsole.conf key map equals now network configuration etc nano etc host name. I'm going to Arch Linux controller. Boom, boom. Now we're going to do our init/wamfs. Weird name. So mkinit cpio # capital P. Now it's going to generate the like thing that talks to the kernel, I think. So enter. Gonna help with like configs and stuff. So just wait for this thing to generate. And see, no errors. We got our console stuff thing. Yep. Nice. Now we're going to do our root password. So pass wd. Boom. Now type in our password. Now time for the bootloader. So you could do systemd, yeah, but for this tutorial I'm going to be doing grub. So yeah. So now we're going to get our bootloader grub. So we're good. So for UEFI, you're going to do pacman -s grub and EFI boot mgr. But for BIOS or legacy systems, do pacman -s grub. But since I'm UEFI, I'm also going to add a new EFI boot mgr. Boom. And now proceed with installation. Yes. then just wait for it to finish, which it already did. Now we're going to run the grub installation. So grub dash install dash as target equals x86 underscore 64 dash EFI space dash EFI dash directory. Now time to full screen, I guess. Directory equals slash boot dash boot loader dash ID equals grub in all capitals. Well, that was one heck of a script, but installation finished, no error reported, which is good. But if you're doing BIOS or legacy, should have probably done this stupid. Oh my days ago. Do grub install just target equals, instead of doing x86 or something, do i3 86 PC, then dev, and then the disk to be grubbed something, yeah. Replace the disk to be grubbed with your actual disk. Don't actually do the disk to be grubbed. That will be. Now we're going to generate the grub configuration file. So we're going to do grub dash mkconfig dash o space slash boot, then dash grub slash grub dot cfg, then generate the thing. And now grub did it. Now if you're dual booting with Windows or anything, you're going to have to install OS Prober. If you're dual booting, skip this part. If you're not dual booting, but yeah, so pacman -s OS Prober. See the installation, yes, and then enable it with so doing nano -etc default grub, and now what you just gotta find this. And then uncomment grub disable OS Prober if equals false. And then once you do that, just run the grub mkconfig -o boot grub .cfg again. So yep. And now we have successfully installed our bootloader grub. So now we can reboot without worrying. So we're going to exit our chroot environment. But actually, before we do this, let's install some apps and stuff. Actually, no, we will do that later. So exit, and then unmount all the partitions with unmount -R /mnt. Boom. And then finally reboot the system by typing reboot. Alright. Now, if you did the grub thing correctly, you should be met with this. Arch Linux. So like that. loading initial RAM disk. I hate that grub doesn't show like all the details, like welcome to Arch Linux. Okay. But now, if you see this screen, congratulations, you are now running Arch. You are running Arch, by the way. But let's be honest, you don't want this black screen. So once we create a user and all of our applications, we're going to get a desktop environment. So I'm just going to resize it again. Alright. And that's the end of the install guide, actually. Yep, so we can close out of that. Actually, I'll just make a new tab. Minimize and this. Alright. Now, time to log in, then add the user account. So, what you have to do, type root, and then type in the password you set when you did passwd. Now, welcome to Arch Linux. Now we're going to do user add -m capital G wheel -s /bin /bash, and then we're going to do your username that I want. So I'm going to do Ace, and then it's done. Now we have to set the password of the user. So passwd Ace. Now type in the new password, and then retype it, and then you've added your new account. Okay, now you're going to be installing lots of applications, probably sudo, and you're going to have to use sudo if you want to install stuff with Pacman, which like is everything uses Pacman, I think. So you're going to have to make the user account a super user that which basically grants you sudo privileges. So first we're going to have to get sudo, so pacman -s capital. Okay. Now we do. So get to the, so for you are probably also not having Wi-Fi. So here I think I have a solution. So systemctl enable. Then now net capital network manager, because we included it in Pacstrap. So now we got created. And then do nm2i, and then go to activate a connection. By the way, if you're on Ethernet, if it's already plugged in, it should just automatically kick in. But then just choose your connection, activate, back, okay, clear, and now we'll ping. Let's see, do the ping command, google.com. Yep. Now we can actually do the sudo thing. Alright. So yeah. So we're going to get sudo first. So pacman -s sudo. Yes. Yep, now it's actually doing stuff. Okay, now we're going to open sudo's file by running this sudo. Think of it. Editor nano sudo. Bam. Now it's good. Now find the %real thing. Just should be here somewhere. Yep. So uncommented this. Like remove the. Oh my! Boom. Okay. Now just save and exit. Oh my. Wait. Edit to. Okay, we have to make sure that it's actually done. Okay. Okay. Control O. Enter. Bam. Bam. Alright. Alright. Now we're going to get some stuff. So our like web browser and stuff. So going to do Pacman as like Haruna, MPV, Power Devil, Power profiles, I think I'll just do a fast fetch also. And I think that will be it. If you want to add more, you can add more. But I think that will be good for me. Okay, so for jack, do 2 for pipe jack, and then 1. I think 1 should be good, and then do that. Now just wait for it to do its thing. Alright, now it's done. I forgot to do it. So just now run Pacman script again and get SDDM. This will be the login screen that you'll see. Alright, now I'm pretty sure everything should be good. Now we're going to, let's switch to our username and let's test our sudo privileges. So sudo, who am I? Type in your password. Dang it. Okay, wait. Exit. Okay. So Ace is my thing. Okay, now sudo, who am I? Search for Ace. Yep. It is good. And now it's the final stretch. Because we finished. Now sudo system ctl now dash f now. Actually no. Enable dash f now. SDDM. Welcome to Arch Linux. Type in password. Since it is a virtual machine, it's going to be pretty laggy. But it's running pretty good. Welcome center. Alright. Welcome to Arch Linux. Yep. Thank you for watching this tutorial if you made it here. If this tutorial helped me out, it would be nice if you would subscribe, but to be honest, I don't really care if you like or subscribe. I just want to be helpful in life. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. So, goodbye, and have fun with Arch Linux.